Double damage.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Purification!
Radiant structures are fortified.
All wands will break!
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Purify!
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Healing and harm!
Her face, I see.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is falling. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Step lively now. Ha 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 ha!
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Surrender to the omniscience!
Radiant's top tower is under attack. are scanning.
By the omniscience.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Fnatic's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
They've won, so they've done pretty damn well for themselves, and you know, I'd say they're the favorites going in here, despite the fact that TNC came out of the majors as the champion. So it's gonna be an interesting one to see. I also checked out the drafts from Fnatic. It definitely looked a lot more varied than you'd expect, especially when you compare that to what TNC's been running so far. There is a lot more variation in Fnatic's draft, so I'm looking forward to see how both teams kind of play around this new patch up against each other, because these two teams definitely are on a different caliber here in Southeast Asia. So these are pretty much the top teams so far in the region.
They absolutely are. And well, TNC, like you said, the previous major winners, looking to try and make it to another major if they possibly can, but Fnatic are going to be in their way for now, and of course, they want to try and force their way to a major. There are 3 spots though, so loser of this will go down to the decider match for that 3rd place spot. So it's not all doom and gloom if you do lose this series, but of course you don't want to have to go through that decider match because anything can happen, and so you'd rather just win this if you possibly can. And of course we do only have one more ban before we get to see what drafts are coming out, and there it is, the Venomancer is going to be taken up by TNC. Fnatic won't even think about it, straight into the Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, I don't blame them. This hero has done so much work for a lot of teams so far. The changes to its aura and even the ultimate has kind of made it have a lot more presence than it used to. You certainly do have a lot more laning presence for sure, and you're always useful to have around it. The relocation in swap is just very strong, and it's always nice to have. It's a stable support to have, basically, so you're not giving away too much by picking it first, and it's just really strong. So I like that pick from Fnatic. We have seen a lot of teams really go back to that Venge. It allows you to draft in some other heroes as well. I think one that we saw with great success was definitely the Drow. Drow plus Venge is just kind of ridiculous as the game goes on, so that's something that Fnatic could fall back to as well.
The one you wanted to see, of course, we didn't get to see it yesterday, but there is the potential of the Vengeful Spirit Sniper, if that's going to ever happen. Hopefully not. As you can see, TNC, though, they will go ahead and pick up the leader, and they will go for the Doom. Now, this is what I've been waiting for, John, because there's been a lot of talk about this hero. Yes. Fnatic will pick up the Drow, but tell me about this Doom. Apparently his Aghanim Scepter is kind of ridiculous now.
Interesting one. It's not one we've seen too often, and you know, it's been a while since Doom in the offlane has actually popped back in. There was a time period where the only offlane you'd see is Doom. Nowadays, you know, he's kind of popping back in. He did get a lot of changes. I believe the jungle changes do really favor a hero like Doom as well. He can certainly get a nice little boost from all the drops that could land into his inventory there. So there is some value in that hero. The change to the Ags is an interesting one. It's going to be top priority for a lot of teams, mainly because it felt like the old Ags wasn't too bad as well. You know, it just gave you a Doom that lasted as long as you were alive or in the area, which was a lot of utility. Still, a lot of teams weren't going for that. I mean, there is a certain use case for the new one, of course. The stun increase is nice, and the break is nice, so Doom can just pump out that damage consistently. But whether or not you're going to invest that amount of gold to get the Ags is another question. There are certain use cases, of course, like if you are needing that break, it can be very useful. Beyond that, I'm not sure about... I mean, the damage is great, it's Doom, and even then, the Infernal Blade does have a bit of a small cooldown anyway, so I'm not sure if the investment is worthwhile. It could be, but it's going to be something like a 6th item pickup, maybe a 7th item pickup as well, as we've seen with a few heroes.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Of course, TNC did also pick up the Lina, and I believe that was just to make sure that Fnatic couldn't grab it, because you have the Drow Ranger and the Vengeful Spirit, as well as the Lina. It gets a little bit painful, not gonna lie. Still though, one more ban from TNC, and we'll get to see where either side is going to go with this draft. Fnatic did get rid of the Enigma and the Naga Siren. TNC, they get rid of the TA, and what else have we got here? I imagine it probably will just be another ranged hero. I wouldn't blame them for getting rid of the DK. We saw what TNC could do with that Dragon Knight. They'll ban out the Timber instead, and there's the Dragon Knight coming up.
Oh boy, yeah, that's that's another ridiculous hero that we've seen yesterday. It's just, it's maddening. We've seen that hero go 1v5 and still somehow draw even.
I love it.
Or at the very least, it takes like a solid, what, half minute for it to die 1v5, and that's ridiculous, especially at 30 to 40 minutes in. It's just super durable nowadays, and I think it really fits in with the Doom. You've got that great control, you have two great initiators now in these two heroes. Very durable as well. The Doom probably takes a bit more time to really become ultra durable in the late game. He takes some item investments and probably a few armor items, but you do naturally pick those up as the Doom anyway. So you've got this really solid lineup from TNC. This lineup that is going to be pretty hard to kill, especially since Fnatic is mainly physical damage right now. With the Venge and the Drow in place, they're going to need some magic damage to eat through their armor. They go with the Tusk, which is a great piece of control, a great piece of initiation, and it can certainly let the damage out with Tag Team, but it's not quite the magic damage you're looking for. It's going to have some scaling issues, I guess. If you let the game go a bit too long, you certainly have to really build up in your drow. Just to burn through. The Lina would have been great for Fnatic, but again, TNC did pick that up first. Would have allowed them some way of going through that early tankiness that the heroes TNC does have.
Certainly would have. Still though, Fnatic will have two other options in their draft to try and deal with this DK later on. I'm sure they've watched the replays of what TNC has done with this Dragon Knight, and they'll probably be very prepared for it. Though TNC will go into the Earthshaker, fair enough. So a hero that hasn't really popped up much over the past couple days. Not really sure how it's going to go in this meta. I imagine it still will be very viable. Overall, it does give them some good teamfight control, some good roaming ability with this hero, so I don't mind it.
Yeah, overall, I mean, Shaker did receive some nerfs, but overall it still performs pretty much the same. And it's going to be interesting to see TNC run this. It just gives them so much more wombo combo as well, so much more control. They already have great control with the Doom and DK. Like, especially if the Doom does eat a Centaur with a Stomp, you already have that great piece of control. With the Shaker on top, TNC can certainly force the issue a lot. I like that pick up against the Tusk as well. So you're going to have to watch out for your snowball targets now, and if you take more than one hero with you, adds a Tusk, because Shaker will punish that clump up. So it's a great pick from TNC, and it's also very in line with the rest of your team. All the heroes are kind of red, Mike.
They certainly are, John. You have been enjoying these color schemes as of late, so it's always good for you to point those out, sir. Of course, Fnatic more blue and dark at the moment. Fourth pick for them. They are using a lot of reserve time for this fourth pick, but it will be the Omni Knight, which has been a very popular kind of offlane to have for multiple teams now. Just very difficult to deal with, especially in those engagements when you pop that Guardian Angel. Basically, the team fight stops for the opposing team. So I do like that being picked up. TNC, they'll get rid of the OD, and Fnatic, one more ban for them. But it does feel like, if I look back at Fnatic's draft, it looks slightly lacking, doesn't it? It's almost like they don't have enough teamfight control or just something big, like an AoE ability. It feels a little bit lacking.
Yeah, it definitely is. You compare that to what TNC has with the Shaker, with the Doom, with Lina. It certainly isn't up to par there. They have much stronger single target potential with the Tusk. Just jumping into someone, getting that simple gank going. And they do have a sort of combo breaker with that Omni Knight, so they can stall out a fight, but they really need something to fight in together here for their last pick. They have been running the puck a lot. That could have been a support puck. We weren't around to watch those games, but they have been running the puck. That is an option they could fall back to. However, the meta has certainly fit support puck much more. We haven't actually seen too many core pucks, so I'm not sure if that's really going to be the pick. The OD would have been great if TNC didn't ban it out. Fortunately, they did see that it would have been too good against the heroes they had, particularly Doom, Dragon Knight. They do not deal well with the OD. There aren't too many heroes left, like perhaps the Queen of Pain, but that's a hero that we really haven't seen in a long time. It does give them the needed burst they need, really need to eat through these really tanky heroes. Gives them great wide damage. It's just not really strong in control. They go with the Ember instead. So okay, that gives them some control and good magic damage. It doesn't quite pull away the doubts I have about their team fight capability, but it does give them a way of eating through the D and Doom at the very least. So you have a way of handling those heroes. Their team fight is still somewhat lacking, at least in terms of overall control.
If I'm able, John, that's an Ember Spirit going into a Doom. I mean, you can't do anything because the Earthshaker is there as well, just keep him locked down. You've got plenty of stuns there, so this isn't going to be the easiest Ember game in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, Fnatic must be feeling quite confident to pick this up. Fair enough, we'll see what they can get done with. Of course, he will have the assistance of the Omni Knight behind him to try and make sure he stays alive, but it's just the Doom I'm worried about the most for this Ember. I imagine...
Yeah,
like this Doom is going to have multiple targets there, right? Like, you still want to get the Omni Knight as well. You don't want to really leave him undoomed throughout the team fight. So
yeah, it's really down to the prioritization of targets here for TNC. I'd say you might still be better off doing the Omni Knight regardless. like you can still stun lock the Ember Spirit with the Shaker, with the DK. You know, it's not going to be too hard. I mean, it's still going to be a challenge. It's an Ember Spirit. It's going to be very slippery if you don't have anything like a Hex. But the priority should still be the Omni Knight in these big team fights. Again, we've seen the effect of an Omni Knight that just doesn't die. And as a consequence of that, the rest of the team doesn't die, which could cause issues for TNC. Their lineup really wants to take these team fights and take control of the map that way, just shut down the enemy team in a big fight. They know Fnatic isn't quite as strong in that setting, although if you give the Drow enough time, I guess you could just eat everyone alive. We've seen that a couple of times as well.
Well, TNC, 10 seconds reserve time left. They're not even going to use that 10 seconds. They will go into the Abaddon again. And we've seen KP on this hero multiple times. How are they going to lane all this, though? So Armel's in the mid laner, fair enough. Gabby going to be on the DK, but who's in the off? Is it going to be the Doom? Is it going to be the Abaddon? I have not seen the support Doom, so I imagine it must be in position 5.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, support Doom was a thing for a while.
Okay.
It escalates in the jungle. This meta definitely fits 3 cores, 1 semi-core. Doom certainly can farm up like a semi-core. So you've got that possibility now for TNC. It is slightly worrying because we have seen KP play the Abaddon, and to be frank, it was not great. It was kind of terrible the way that lane went. It's just not a good time anymore. You can't deny yourself, so when you drop really low, you're kind of just forced to go back or die, which gives the enemy team gold, slows down your EXP gain, yada yada yada. It's just not a good story so far. It's going to be interesting to see who exactly they pair up with KP, or if they're just going to toss him alone in the off lane. Either way, I feel like Abaddon core on the off is just really lackluster at the moment. We saw TNC try it a couple of times. It hasn't worked out. Perhaps this time it will. They do have much more aggressive supports that pick up the pace here. It's still a rather strange last pick in my opinion.
Well, it seems like they've been really sacrificing KP a lot in these games that they've been having. I suppose we'll see what TNC's game plan is here. They probably just want to have the KP unkillable again, and of course the Baron does it with the Aphotic Shield. So I guess we'll have to find out. So TNC versus Fnatic, game number 1. Chips already going out towards March on the Doom. Of course, Gabby is going to be in the safe lane on that DK. He is going to have March there as support. But you talked about it before. March will probably be jumping between the lane and jungle quite a bit, trying to get that farm up himself. Of course, Armel in the mid lane on the laner is going to be up against Moon on that Ember. The top lane have KP on that Abaddon. For now, he will have Tims there as support on the Earthshaker. And it looks like Fnatic may run a tri-lane. They've got DJ there on the Tusk. You'll see Jabs on the Venge, and of course 23 Savage will be on the Drow. It looks like Fnatic will just do this 2 protect 1 in the top lane. Just make sure this Drow can get as much farm as possible, because the lineup is very, very reliant on 23 Savage having a good game.
Yeah, not only that, but a tri-lane like this can really punish a hero like Abaddon. He does not have great early game presence. His level 1 to 2 are really, really bad right now, considering that he can't just get himself denied for free. So KP's gonna have to watch his spacing here, have to be very conscious about the physical damage output that Fnatic does have with these 3 heroes.
Well, 2 for 2 bounty trade, very even start between both these teams. KP already getting chased down by Jabs on the bench. We'll see Tims going for the block on the creep wave. Well, Savage is going to try and match that, but it looks like he has let the wave go. So at the very least, you have the creep wave quite close to the off-lane tower on the side of TNC. In fact, we'll have another block coming out, so it's going to be very, very close. And at least you ensure that this Abaddon can get level 2 or 3 before he does get shafted. I think that should be okay for KP.
Yeah, that would certainly be a better start in the past few games. I remember a time we saw him stuck at level 2 at about, what, 4 to 5 minutes, which it's really a rough time. I think just the way TNC plays right now, there's a lot more emphasis on the other lanes than they're off, which really hurts KP.
Let's look at that mid lane. Armel should have a pretty decent time. Up until those later levels for Moon, he shouldn't really be able to apply that much pressure onto Armel unless he is out of position. Armel should essentially free farm this mid lane, at least for a few minutes, and it looks like he already has started. So Moon will try and apply some pressure with that Ember. Flame Guard has worn off now, so he'll have to run back. But Moon is still doing pretty well in the circumstances. 7-7 on both ends of things. Meanwhile, Fnatic playing behind the T1 tower of TNC. Looks like KP will do the exact same thing. Trying to pull the creep wave away from the side of Fnatic. He should be successful as well. There might be a little rotation from DJ to try and punish a bit, but ultimately he should get away with it. Though I say that, they are coming in now. Him down, KP. Cop a bit of damage. Tims is going to be there on the Earthshaker, but he is actually dropping quite low. They don't have the magic missile though, so they won't be able to perma-stun him up. He will barely get away with his life intact.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous amount of damage just from these two supports. The Wave of Terror along with the Blightstone and the tag team just means if you're not careful, you're going to be trading very unfavorably with just two supports. They didn't even have 23 Savage Terror.
We'll have a look at that bot lane as well. Gabby trying to apply some pressure onto Ice on the Omni. And March will follow up as well. Of course, this Omni is be fairly safe. Like, he can just sustain himself for multiple times in this bot lane. Just keep using that purification. He won't really be able to slow down Gabby too much though. So this DK should be getting some pretty good farmers as well.
Yeah, and we have seen what happens when a DK does get a decent start. This is just going to be a farm trading lane. I think the key thing with having the Knight in the off lane is that March on the Doom is not going to be pressured at all. He's going to be able to play this greedy Doom just fine.
That's exactly what he's doing right now. Just farming up that jungle slowly. Get a pull off as well. Just wants to keep that creep wave next to his T1 tower. Don't make it easy for Ice.
Radiant structures.
Gabby will just continue farming up the best he can. Top lane, the nice shards will come out from DJ and KP. Looks like he's got no way out of this one. Tims, he tried to get the Fisher out, but unfortunately nobody really got blocked off in the end. And DJ had already thrown the shards out prior to the stun proccing.
Yeah, it's that physical damage. It's just insane. Frost Arrows has bonus, you know, the minus armor there from the Venge tag team. You just can't afford to overextend, which makes it very hard for KP to just walk up and right click. He's going to be punished every single time he's going to go any last hit.
It's certainly going to be a bit of a struggle for him, but he's used to it by this point. He knows what he's doing. Back to that mid lane. Has really started to take over in terms of last hits. 27 and 11 in comparison to the 16 and 1 of Moon. This was kind of expected. Again, the matchup does just favor Armel. Certainly taking complete advantage of it for now. Meanwhile, up the top lane once again. Well, a bit of a shard being thrown out onto KP, but he'll be okay this time around. Tim's was there just in case. But Fnatic, they're doing a great job of allowing 23 Savages to free farms top lane. He's 27 and 7 right now on his brow, and there's just been no real pressure applied at all. He's just perfectly fine. But with Moon, will get taken down mid lane, but they will find the trade onto Armel. So nice rotation there from March on the Doom. Jabs will do the same, finds the trade. Armel certainly will be a lot happier about that, as he did get the kill before he died.
Yeah, it's a much bigger win there for TNC, and that's one of the great things about having Doom support. You just pop the jungle. If you have anything like the Purge, which March does have, just go in after farming for a bit and find a kill. Really easy way to just get that lane going, and that's one of the powers of Doom. He grows big by just farming, and he can pop in any lane, depending on what creep he picks up.
He's got the Purge right now. He can apply a little bit of pressure to Ice if he wishes to, and exactly what he will do. Ice doesn't really have the mana to use purification. In fact, March is going to continue chasing him down. He's not going to find the kill. Or maybe, we purge him again. Ice does get the soul ring, heals himself up. March doesn't have enough damage to follow up with this after the purification. But had that soul ring not come in for Ice, he basically would have been dead.
Oh yeah, and he's forced to shrine up now as well, which is going to make it a bit tougher for Moon. He's not going to have that closer shrine to help him out, so just a little bit more taken away from Fnatic there.
And Moon's currently putting a lot of stacks in the jungle. I believe that might be a quadruple stack. Be a fair bit of golden XP going Moon's way. It was something that he kind of needed. It was just falling a little bit behind in that mid. He'll catch up now. Still March going to show himself once again. Couldn't really get in range from that perch. Will require Armel to get an LSA off if he does wish to close the gap. He is continuing to just keep vision on Moon, ensure they know exactly where he is. And Moon will be perfectly fine though, as it looks like March will rotate up top, where Fnatic is again just taking over this lane, but now Tim's going to go for a Fisher, doesn't throw it out, couldn't quite get the block off. Fnatic, they will happily get there.
You know, there's something I want to point out. When you go for these stacks early on, like Moon, he went for that stack. That was before 7 minutes in, so it didn't have neutral drops. There's actually a trade-off to trying to get that catch-up farm earlier than 7 now, because you could potentially miss out early items that could help your cause.
Certainly. It's a bit early, but he may have felt like he just needed it. Still, certainly not the most efficient play in Moon. I'm sure he has his reasons. Back at Gabby, he's got the minus up now on the DK, so he's just planning to farm up quite a while. Pretty decently timed minus as well. It's about 7.5 minutes in when he got it. You haven't been contested at all on the DK, so you can afford to do this. If you look at the net worth graph, John, Gabby is at the top by about 3.6k.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen DKs just get a pretty... the fastest might have seen so far, and it's been about 10 minutes in, so 7.5 is pretty darn good for Gabby. He doesn't have boots up, but you know, he doesn't need him. Like, again, no contest down here, just him and Ice trading farm, and, well, Ice isn't trading favorably.
We'll see DJ rotating in now as the task.
Money to burn.
Not going to make a play, he'll just put a ward down, keep pushing on Gabby, but there was already a sentry placed there by March. So that will get the water immediately by Gabby. See Jabs now coming into the bot lane as well. They really want to try and kick down. It is fairly tanky, but it should be enough. He'll get one shot. Gets into that dragon form. Now the rotation's coming in. DJ, he's going to be in trouble. March should be able to help out, and he does. Finds the kill. He's got the max dragon blood, John. It is very hard to get the damage out on this DK fast enough.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why you tend to not gank a level 8 DK. You basically just don't kill him. And that is a very rough gank coming out from Fnatic. Attack. They do feel the pressure. Like, they understand Gabby's gotten a bit too much in this lane. I don't think you have the tools to really slow that down at this point, although we'll try again.
They certainly will. Gabby's just going to TP out of there, though.
Under attack.
And we'll be perfectly safe. Moon was probably the added damage they needed, but unfortunately for him, he won't have the opportunity to go after Dragon Knight. Still, they can go for a tier 1 tower now. Billy Perkins will return to the bot lane to defend his March, and they've spotted him out now as well. Ice going to start making the chase. They get the magic missile off, and that should just be a dead March. Yep, it certainly is. Moon will go ahead and pick that up, and they will transition straight into the tier 1 tower.
Radiant's bottom tower.
It's a nice pickup for Fnatic. They do lose their tier 1 up top as well. We did see Armel just walk up there to take that tower out. So an even trade in terms of towers, and I don't believe TNC's going to feel too bad about losing March. He does respawn very quick, and he has dual bump now. So this is the point where TNC, with March, probably are going to be looking for solo pickoffs.
Illusion.
Well, so I saw Moon picking up a mango tree before. I wonder where he's placed it. Can't quite see it around the map here. Did see yesterday, I believe it was, the mango tree giving full vision of the Roshan pit if you do place it next to the Roshan. So I wonder if they can take advantage of that or whether they'll put it somewhere else.
Oh, Doom on Moon.
Moon Gonna be in trouble bot lane. There is a smoke up top as well, but Moon being chased down. They get the fish drop, and that'll be a dead ember. Still though, top lane, can they find Kingston off the Abaddon? Doesn't have borrowed time available, and he doesn't really have any help around. So almost a guaranteed death for the Abaddon. They're trying to juke him out, waste as much as possible, but DJ will get the Warriors punch off. Still can't be making a run for it, but they're not down. Can he survive much longer? He's got the big shield available, but they will burst that up. KB though, still making a run for it. Doesn't get out of this.
No.
He gets tipped by Armel and he's out.
No.
That is very unfortunate for Fnatic. And he gets the outpost.
Yeah, now that's a really bad sign here for Fnatic. Like, this is going to be the story of the game. If they can't kill up this, Abaddon's had to kill the other cores.
Echo Slam is by Tims. He just locks down the Ember once again, and that's going to be Moon's second death in about within a minute. Not good news for Fnatic. It's going to make it a 4-3 now and a 2k net worth lead for TNC. Like you said, I mean, just judging by that kill that kill attempt that we saw up front, it doesn't really spell good news for this Dire side. It's 23 Savage now. Going to get dove on by KB. Fisher not there in time. They get the swap on to Jabs. Jabs will go down for his trouble though. And Fnatic punish. They're going to give it a shot. Gabby just out of the Ice still moving forward. Moon now joining in as well as the Ember. Though there's the LSA, and they just walk out.
Yeah, it's a rough time when you're losing heroes like this. At the very least, pressure from the mids. Their tower is still going to be up for longer. That does pull out 23 Savage and Moon to form much safer in that jungle. But the moment they lose this tier 1, it's just going to be much harder to get the response. They're not quite there yet in terms of total net worth. They've got a lot more farming to do before Fnatic can start pushing back.
Certainly do. See March pick up a smoke now. Just off the courier. It's like TNC understand the advantage of go to push it further by going for a quick smoke attempt. Sometimes has to be very careful about his positioning here, but he does have teammates behind him.
Money to burn.
So they are going to try and push in that bot wave a little bit, maybe just take the outpost. That's exactly what they will do. So both teams just trading outposts. Once again, you want to have them prior to that 15-minute mark. TNC, at least for now, just not smoke up, they'll just hold on to it. I imagine they'll probably go around that 15-minute mark and try to get an outpost once again. Just get some counterhits for themselves. And it looks like Fnatic have the exact same idea. We'll see Jams buying up a smoke. We should have some smoke on smoke action very soon.
Works, doesn't it?
Gabby gonna see if he can snipe the tier 1 tower beforehand. Does pop the dragon form. He can just go in, continue rising away. Looks like there will be a swap going on though. They found March on the Doom and they will kill him off very quickly. Still, Gabby is just going for objectives, so they swap him in as well. Will better help Gabby as the little city's up. There's the aquatic shield trying to help him out. He's still taking a lot of damage, but no. Ice will take him out. Now the chance of them needed to block KB out own side of the river. Borrowed time will give him the time. Get out though. So they do find a major kill in the form of the DK and March, and not only that, they do force out March's buyback.
Yeah, it's a pretty big win for Fnatic. That's definitely something they needed. You know, that Dragonite was going to be a big issue. They still lose their tier 1 at the very least. Jabs does get the deny this time around, so the gold's not going there. The control given to TNC is pretty big though. Like, they've only lost. Fnatic's down 2 tier 1s now. So their jungle is just that much more unprotected without that mid-tier 1, and that just means TNC can definitely exploit that, which they have been doing quite well anyway.
Good news, John. I did find the mango tree. It is down to the south on that little cliff there for the observer.
Oh.
Call that One Tree Hill now. Yeah, mangoes. Not sure how they're planning to get those mangoes. Delicious fruit. Fnatic will sort it out later on, I'm sure. So Ice gonna make his way back up top. Just push out that creep wave again.
Never refuse gold
TNC.
given.
They have already backed out.
Another triumph.
Tims, does he have a blink dagger? Yeah, he does. He's got one on the way now on the courier, and that's going to be a pretty big item for Tims. Fairly early on as well at 16 minutes. And with that, I imagine March probably will pump the smoke, at least with this shaker. Looks like Armel will join in on the leader. What are they going for? Straight up to the top lane. They want Ice Sights. Now, that's probably the harder target they can aim for, to be fair. But they have confidence in themselves. They get the big echo off. Ice is going to TP at the right time. Jabs may not be so lucky though. Maybe. Tims, he gets the fish off. I thought he may have had a second, but quite. Armel will give him the Laguna. I suppose with Fnatic, you'd still be okay with the fact that you haven't lost your army. In fact, they are going to find Gabby, but they will miss the shards, so Gabby will just happily fly off.
Wands will break.
Yeah, definitely not the smoke target they were looking for, but a kill's a kill. Just need use for spells. They still have the slam. When they want to use it, the blink has sort of been revealed, but they did check the inventory though.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Fnatic, we're trying to apply a bit of pressure towards that mid-tier 1 tower. We'll just leave the Drow illusions there. You have a look at the 23 Savage's farm. It has slowed down quite a bit. He's fallen behind the DK as well as Armel and Melina. He's got the Yasha up as well as Dragonlance, but it's not enough to really help out in these team fights yet. He does need a bit more. Speaking of,
Radiant's bottom
we'll go ahead and pick up the Maelstrom now, so he does have a lot more magic damage coming in on this Ember. That should really assist in this DK, or at least trying to take him down. He will go for an immediate smoke. There you go though.
No sorceries avail.
Let's prove that west side jungle of the Radeon. It's not the easiest target to go for. They definitely want to try and find the backlines first. Armel, they're going to TP out. In fact, no, he cancels that off. Fnatic are waiting on the high ground. It looks like they will not find the open. Jabs' smoke has been broken anyway, and Fnatic, they are going to back off at least for now.
Yeah, the thing that gave Fnatic's rotation away was actually Ice.
Gets chained up, still going to be fine. They swap him as well, but he has to have time available. Now the tag team bomb. There's the borrowed time. Are they going to jump in? Guided Angels there, but Jabs is already dead with the breathe fire of Gabby, and now they do the Omni up. They don't want any more shenanigans from this Omni line, and they will just try and burst him down immediately. That's exactly what we need to see too. Ice goes down. DJ just trying to get the hell out of there. But it looks like Gabby is not going to leave the man alone. He'll go for a snowball, but more importantly, they found the Ember. Moon goes down to Armel on the Lena, and Gabby is not done. He wants the beast. 23 Savage trying to make a run for it. Gabby will not catch him, but they will be able to apply perhaps a bit of pressure towards that tier 2 tower now.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Alright, let's just keep going. DJ, he's not done yet, but March will purge him up. Snowball coming there towards KP. Now Savage comes back. There's a swap there onto DJ, but he's burning out and he does go down. Jabs, he'll go down as well.
Dire's middle tower is under
Savage
attack.
did find a double kill though. He got the Doom. He got KP on the batter. So Fnatic, perhaps not going to be too upset about it. It's a bit of gold going to the way of their position 1.
Yeah, it's a decent enough situation out of a pretty rough time. At the very least, the kills did go to 23, but overall, you're not going to be happy about that. You lost your Ember Spirit. I'd argue that you should have farm priority at this point, like early on. He just needs to be online that much faster before the AKBs start flying out, before everyone else is just way too tanky for him to burst with his magical damage. He needs to be strong now, and he's not quite there yet. He needs a lot more gold. Those deaths definitely slow him down a bit.
We'll get a little bit calm between these two. We do set an 11-7, 5k net worth lead for TNC. The net worth has been their way the whole time. It literally has not been successful once this game. And they may loop around and find Tims on the Earthfaker. In fact, no, they're looking to go for the Roshan attempt. And with the in fact, look at this. This is ridiculous. Oh yeah. This Roshan, 20 minutes in, tying to pretty much just the Drow Ranger. And TNC will have this. The Aegis will go the way of 23 Savage. He's a little bit too fast.
Yeah, nah, that it didn't feel like a rush at all. It felt like maybe a pretty big increase. But that will give Fnatic a bit more leeway in terms of fights, in terms of getting ganked up. They have safety net now on 23, so you can feel a bit safe as he still continues to build up.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Fnatic more time. Savage now, he has the Hurricane Pike. Looks like he is going to go straight into the Butterfly next. In fact, he might Sanj on the way though. No, that's DJ's courier. So Savage just going to hold on to the Yasha. Go for the Butterfly instead. Which is fair enough. Looks like March isn't going for anything special. He's just going for a Solar Crest up next after the drums. Does have the Philosopher's Stone available, so you've got that added gold per minute.
Haste!
Certainly helps the cause.
Radiant's top
Fnatic
tower
now.
is under
Just
attack.
start forcing that top tier 1
Radiant
tower.
structures are fortified.
TNC not going to allow this to go down.
Dire's
Free
bottom
those.
tower is
Mel
under
will TP
attack.
up. He does go for the Shadow Blade as well. Does climb on some moves. It was too late, and it does allow the remnant away from this Ember. Just go back down bot where he knows it's safe. Start farming that up instead.
It's a tricky one to catch an Ember like that. You really have to be on point with the LC. Even then, we've seen time and time and again where unless you have a really hard Swords of Lockdown, or if you really catch him by surprise, Ember Spirits just tend to slip away like that. So you'd want either a Hex, a Doom, or just a long-range stun from the Shaper.
Swapped straight away, the Doom, no hope, gone straight away, but they found out Mel as well. Bishop will be to try and save his Lina, and in fact, do they have protection? Moon, they did dust him up. Mel trying to go for TP, surely he doesn't get away like he does. Oh, he didn't have the mana for the chains. Oh, that's a real shame. That was the main target they wanted. Now Fnatic, I think they go for an immediate smoke to try to surprise the side of TNC. Gabby was their closest target, but Gabby will run to the other side of the map. Although maybe he won't. He thinks about changing his mind.
Radiant's top
May
tower
find him in this
is
mid
fallen.
lane.
Radiant are
You don't have any
scanning.
swap targets available. Again, this is a very hard target to try and go for. He's first time again with the drag bomb, and now the echo. Since he found all three of them in the lot of damage shots, he'll go down straight away. The Guardian Angel will protect him for at least a bit. Mel can't get out of there. The Doom is there on the ground. Savage never lose the Aegis. Who do they go for now? It looks like they are going to stick to the ground. Perhaps even DJ for the target. He will go down. Now Savage turns around. He will get KP at the very least, and they do go for Gappy. Gappy just wants to get out. Moon still going. Gappy just going to try and man fight, but he does go down to 23 Savage. It looks pretty darn great with that good plan from Tims, but the Aegis from Savage allowing them to turn around and win that team fight.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really good counter initiation from TNC. They did find 2 heroes, 3 if you count the Aegis, but it wasn't enough, and it might have been just a bit too little too late. That was the blink reveal on Gabby as well. It's a good attempt, but they couldn't handle the Drow, even if they got her twice. I think the issue is, by the time KP finishes his borrowed time, he doesn't actually do as much as you expect, and everyone else is going to be soaking up that damage. So the issue there was fighting into the Axe. It just doesn't work out for TNC there, especially if it's on 23 Savage. Beyond that, that was some really good plays from both teams. Just counter initiation and counter initiation working out in the end Fnatic's favor. So that's going to give them some breathing room here. Does swing the net worth to their advantage, 1k. So they've got a little bit of you know, a better time now in the game. It's still fairly close from both sides. 13 to 12 at 25.5 minutes in. The teams are really just kind of matched up here.
Savage gonna find KP in the mid lane. Moon will be there as well. And this time KP does not have help.
One less enemy.
Didn't proc the for a time as the silence was there from the Drow Ranger. For the first time this game, Fnatic do now have the net worth advantage. It is only by about 1k, but it is certainly a great sign for this Dire side. We'll have a quick look at that win probability, and it was the way PC by about 70%. But now you'll see that Fnatic have it by about 62% there.
Yeah, it's at this moment where Fnatic is kind of... I mean, you don't have the best of farm on Moon, but he can really leverage his ability and his slipperiness now, especially since he has a BKB. You've got Savage, who's pretty much farmed up. That Silver Edge just allows them to really burst down heroes like the Dragonite, even here's the Abaddon. As long as you get the silence off and the break off, he's not going to have his hard time available. So you've got all that working in Fnatic's favor now. And it's teams to step back and rethink their game plan here. They haven't taken these big team fights favorably in a while, in a couple of fights, and I don't think we've seen too many Dooms coming out from March in a while. So they've got to somehow find the right targets with their Doom and really leverage the fight off of that.
LSA gonna be there. Laguna straight away. He gets posted. They'll find Ben's raw jabs cannot sustain the damage. That's one of those plays you were talking about from TNC. They find two pretty decent cups. Can they find any more? They'll force in that top tier 2 tower. Fnatic, are they going to try and stick around? Naturally not, they will run straight towards that mid lane. TNC though, do they stop? They've still got half the duration of that dragon form available. And the answer is no, they absolutely do not. They keep going.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
They've only got a buyback on Moon right now. The vet does not have one. Still got the echo on Tims. That tier 3 melting so fast. They'll stick it. Gabby though, he's not done. He wants the melee racks as well. Savage trying to do some damage, but he's basically taking his Dragon Knight. And that'll be one rack. That.
It's hard to take these fights without Moon. You really need Moon there. You need the Venge there to isolate one hero as well. And Savage does good damage, but it's not enough against 3 tank. He can't do all that damage alone. He also needs the minus armor from Venge, the aura, and the tag team right in the middle. And TJ is not going to commit in 4v5.
See Armel, he's got that mind break now up on the field. You've got that silence essentially every 20 seconds. Very nice item for Armel. Shut down Moon, ensure he can't just get in. Of course, Moon does have the BKB up now. And after that BKB is over, could be back December. See, there's a lot of range now, John. Plus 400 bonus range seems pretty balanced on with a Vengeful Spirit, but that's exactly what Savage does get. And so he will be able to attack from an absolute mile away. We'll see how it all pans out as TNC, they've smoked up. They run towards the bot lane. They know Moon's there, but Moon, of course, just going to try and back out before they get anywhere near him. Just roaming out to safety.
Yeah, they broke the tree as well. They did use the LSA on that ward area. So Fnatic's vision is gone from down there, which is a bit of a shame. They do smoke up. They are looking for the Roshan, not quite up. Is up soon though.
Yeah, they're just a little bit too early. They need 5 seconds to have that Roshan up. And that's a real shame for Fnatic. They don't have the vision either, I don't believe. But they'll send a Centaur in, and now they will spot out. Still though, TNC seem to be aware of this. They do make their way up. They're going to go for a 5v5 team fight. The runner still the outpost, but he gets stuck on Gabby. Moving straight in. Savage will get stuck. He's actually melting quite fast. Gabby, how do you survive this? He looked like he can't, but he's still in there. He'll fall start down. Moon's making the chase. Meanwhile, Arnold tries off the back, but he cannot. TNC lose 3 already. They'll lose a 4th in the form. Okay. And Savage is giving it to him.
Sin's expectation. Got it.
Tim's the only man to survive. He couldn't really get the Echo Slam off. Fnatic can happily go for that Roshan attack now.
Yeah, that was a pretty good start for TNC. They had a present in mind to keep them safe. They do manage to swap him out before any real danger befalls him. March is forced to do him out. I believe it was Ice, and even that wasn't enough. Ice's Ice away there. it meant that Moon could just do what he wants, and that was a big issue there as well. So you're starting to lose that potency in your lineup here from TNC. You've got to find these fights cleaner. You need to start depending on perhaps Tim's to get a big jump in, although that is going to be a very tall ask, but it is going to be pretty easy in a high ground defense, I suppose. So Tim's just needs to find way to force these guys in a very compromisable position here.
Radiant's
Tier
top
3
barracks are under
gone. They
attack.
should be able to find racks very easily to the side of is exactly what they do. TNC not even getting in position to
Radiant's
try and
top
defend.
barracks has fallen.
They'll try to fish it, but that's all that's
Radiant's
going to come
top
out.
barracks are under attack.
Leave some illusions behind, and they do back off the safety where they can just go for that top shrine. Now
Radiant's top shrine is under
they are
attack.
going to take it as well.
Radiant's
So
top shrine
we have a
has
very
fallen.
even game now. 1 racks for either side. TNC does have the advantage of more range racks, but that doesn't really mean too much for the lane.
Yeah, we're at that point where the game is starting a bit late. You do start to see issues coming out from the seaside. Now, don't get me wrong, they've still got a lot of potency here. I think the key thing is that they're probably need a double doom at some point. Maybe something to refresh on Mort when he gets enough gold. I think that's going to be the next priority after these utility items like the Force Staff. And, you know, maybe even the Solar Crest might come out, but I think the refresh is going to be needed here. Just double doom out both Moon and Ice. That's going to be the key in these big fights if you're not able to get the item. Otherwise, Fnatic should be able to outlast them now with Guardian Angel where it is, and the BKBs flying out on the fours.
It does seem very important as well for that BKB to come out onto Gabby. I mean, if you want to get to that unkillable point, you're definitely going to need to block off all that magic damage coming in from Moon. And we'll see if Gabby does. He is queuing it up. Meanwhile, Fnatic trying to get set up for another team fight. Almost finding Armel. Savage will just casually take the teaching tower from the tree line.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
You've also got a Lincoln Sphere up on Moon, so it's going to be very careful about that Doom. Make sure you break that Lincoln's first.
KP manages to finish up his Ags, so there is a little bit more durability in these team fights as long as KP does turn on borrowed time. Whether or not he does manage to get that off is a different question entirely. He's going to have to jump in first while his team is around him to maximize that spell.
At the very least for now, they're just going to try and wait out this Aegis. Let it expire, don't give Fnatic that advantage. Fnatic still looking for an opening. Fortunately for them, TNC hasn't really given them one. And surprisingly, they go for a smoke. This is into the Aegis, but I believe they may just try and steal that outpost up at the northwest side. So no, they won't even go for that. They'll smoke again. Perhaps just gonna have to take this bot team fight, just getting ready for it. Savage is going to start applying pressure to that tier 3 tower. Savage moving closer, does pop a picture, but no follow-up to it. He does just get the tier 3 tower with no contestation. Well, Heavenly Grace will keep him safe. Stands back, no, jump in, Gabby with the start, well, trying to jump in, it seems like on the Ember. Nice to get KB up, and a very nice chance from DJ just holding him in. Now KB though falling very low, and he does go down. Around the Doom onto the Omni, but it doesn't matter. Moon just jumps straight into the middle of all this, goes for the backlines. It looks like Gabby is falling quite low to DK and is gonna fall. And they just don't have an answer for it. Tim, he just called the GG, he couldn't even get the echo off.
Tower is under attack.
They were just holding back a bit too much there, TNC. We needed to find a way to jump in, and TNC were trying to get their Kingston due to Ice, which is fight ID, and this last fight that we already got the Guardian Angel off. So that Doom was completely unnecessary. Tim's, he was just trying to look for the biggest Echo slams as possible, but I think at that point it's just a bit too late. It just